Hello, and welcome to Lesson 7 of B.3, the Cancer Unit. I'm Nicole Bettis, an OpenSciEd facilitator and former high school biology teacher. In this video, I will give an overview of Lesson 7 and wrap up with some tips and tricks. Lesson 7 is the final lesson in the first lesson set of this unit. In this lesson, we will be putting all of the pieces from the previous 6 lessons together into one class consensus model. Before we dig into Lesson 7, let's briefly recap how we got here. By the end of Lesson 6, we figured out how DNA codes for proteins and how those proteins are made. We also figured out how mutations in the p53 gene can lead to different amino acid sequences, and therefore different structures and functions of the p53 protein. At this point, we've really figured out a lot about how cancer happens, so we want to take a moment to put it all together to explain the genetic basis of cancer. Now, on to Lesson 7. Lesson 7 takes one class period. It involves creating a class consensus model. The 5 minutes of material preparation listed here is to gather chart paper and markers. Students will not need their individual devices in this lesson. Lesson 7 begins with students reviewing their progress trackers to identify some of the big ideas. Then they create a gotta have it checklist to use while developing a class consensus model to explain the genetics behind how we get cancer. We end the lesson by revisiting our driving question board to identify the questions that we still need to answer. Although we don't figure out anything new in this lesson, we agree that cancer cells can form when the p53 protein isn't working properly, and that while p53 corrects mutations in DNA, the DNA in the p53 gene can also be mutated and then code for a version of p53 that doesn't correct these mutations. By the end of Lesson 7, we figure out how everything we've learned so far in the unit fits together to explain the genetic basis of cancer. There are a lot of ideas we bring to this lesson. Here's a list of things we hope will be discussed and even captured on the class consensus model. Let's talk about the class consensus model because that's definitely a key moment in this lesson. After students create a gotta have it checklist with a partner, we develop the class consensus model. We start by identifying the components to include in the model, and then we go through each lesson, identifying what we figured out and deciding how to represent it in our model. From Lesson 2, we show how cancer cells look different from non-cancer cells, and from Lesson 3, we add information about the cell cycle, including the role p53 plays in regulating the cell cycle. We can build on to the cell cycle using what we figured out from Lesson 4 to show that the more times around the cell cycle and the more cell divisions, the higher the chances for mutations. We then expand upon this using Lesson 5, showing that mutations happen during DNA replication, with one p53 protein fixing the mutations while the other 2 not fixing them. Then we can use Lesson 6 to explain where these different p53 proteins come from, which can connect back to the DNA mutations to help students understand that while the p53 protein can correct mutations in DNA, the DNA in the gene for p53 can itself become mutated, which then can code for a p53 protein with a different shape that isn't able to correct these DNA mutations. Once we complete this class consensus model, students look back at their gotta have it checklist to make sure each idea is represented in the model. So here we are at the end of Lesson 7 and the first lesson set. We developed a model to explain the genetic basis of cancer, and then we revisited our driving question board. We realized that our model does not explain how cancer gets passed on in families or how environmental factors can lead to cancer. Because of this, we decide to investigate these causes of cancer in the next lesson set, starting with inheritance. Now that you have a better understanding of Lesson 7, I want to leave you with just a few tips and tricks. Here are a few tips for developing the class consensus model. First, the teacher edition has step-by-step guidance and images that are helpful to use when thinking about what this process will look like in your class. Second, I suggest using different colors and using them strategically. In my class consensus model shown here, I used a different color to show what we figured out in each lesson. This allowed us to see the different connections between the lessons. Another suggestion that I've heard from other teachers is to divide students into expert groups and assign each group a lesson. Then call on each group when developing the consensus model and ask them what ideas from their lesson should be included and how they should be included. After the group shares, you can ask the rest of the class whether they agree or disagree, or if there's anything else from the lesson they think should be added. Finally, because there's so much information in this one model, I want each of my students to have a copy. It's a lot for them to copy into their notebooks while we're developing it, or even once we're finished. So I like to take a picture and print off a copy for each student. Because we're putting the pieces together, we will not be co-constructing or encountering any new words in this lesson. Finally, for poster management, students will need their progress trackers at the beginning of the lesson, and you will want the driving question board from Lesson 1 accessible for the end of the lesson when we revisit it to see what questions we still need to answer. The class consensus model from this lesson is used again in Lesson 10, so you will want to keep it for later use. In summary, Lesson 7 is all about developing a class consensus model that puts all of the pieces from the previous 6 lessons together to explain the genetic basis of cancer. This ends Lesson Set 1, where we investigate the question, what is cancer? In Lesson Set 2, we will investigate the question, what are the causes of cancer? The Lesson 8 video will introduce the case studies of Lakita and Lauren and show how we use their family histories to figure out how cancer can be inherited in families. So be sure to check it out.